It's Amazon Prime Day, and there are plenty of ham radio and other electronic deals which I've gone through. I've sifted through quite a few of them, and we're going to go through them in this video today to sort of maybe there's something that you might miss or something that might catch your eye. So we'll go through them. Now, all of the links that I go through of all of the products in this video will be in the description below. Using those links does support my channel, so I really appreciate it if you choose to do so. If you don't get anything from this video, but you are getting something from Amazon Prime, there is another link in the description below that you can use, which again still supports my channel, so I really appreciate those that do. And one thing to just keep in mind that these links are regionalized. Amazon does regionalized stuff. So if you click on a link and it doesn't bring up the product, it's because Amazon doesn't offer it in whatever country that you're in. I'm going through today on the Amazon.com website, which is the US one. So all the prices are in the US. So if for some reason you can't find something, that's the reason why. And the first one that I found is the Retevis RT95. This is a mobile ham radio, 2 meters and 70 centimeters, VHF, UHF. I've done a review on this radio. It is quite a nice radio. This one here's $99, so it's discounted by 20%. They're usually about $125. So for less than $100, you get, I think it's 25 watts. Pretty sure it's 25 watt radio on this one. And I think this is really good. Now, this radio, I thought has awesome audio quality. It was actually surprised me when I tested it out. There was a couple of things that if you do use this radio in sort of an urban or a city environment with a lot of interference, you might get some breakthrough on that. But if you live sort of rural, I live sort of rural, semi-rural, and I haven't really noticed it on my radio. So for that, it perfectly works really well. It's great mic, but the audio sounded really good on the unit that I had. This is also known as the Anytone AT878, I think, but Retevis have it for $100. So that is a pretty good deal. Moving on to the next deal, we have the good old UV-K5, the Quancheng. So this is $22. This is being discounted even further. They're usually about $24, $25. So the fact that this is sitting here on Prime Day for $22.39, the ultimate hackable radio. Pretty much everyone has one of these. They just exploded in popularity. People have also been buying little boards that drop in, which they can even receive down on HF a lot better now, because straight out of the box when you could hack them, they weren't really that good down at HF, but now they've got like a little drop-in board, which I haven't investigated and looked at, but yeah, get yourself a UV-K5 if you don't have one already. And this is the UV-K5-8. This is kind of the upgraded type of model. It's essentially the exact same thing. It's $21. It's slightly better sort of feel, a little bit more ergonomic, I guess. Feels a little bit tougher. It's almost the same as the previous model, but if you want to get that one, it's got the orange screen as well, which I actually preferred the orange screen. So you might want to get that one instead. To go along with that, programming cable. This is the programming cable that I have, and it's sitting on my bench here somewhere, but I can't see it right now. This one seems to work with a lot of radios that I have, all of the Baofengs, the Quanchengs, the TalkPod, all that sort of stuff. It just seems to work. This is the one that I've got. Yeah, $6. So get yourself a Baofeng cable. This one, different colors as green and orange, whatever. I didn't have to install any drivers. I just plugged it in and away it went. So grab one of those, $5 on special. TID radio. Now, this radio here, which is the TID, the TDH3, they have a Prime Day special on this. This one is that I found, I think this is the cheapest one that I found, which is $36. This one has 2 batteries, a single unit for $36. You can also get it in the crystal clear, which I really like this sort of throwback retro type looking at the electronics inside. So you can get that as well. There's a couple of other variations as well. I think that one there with the USB-C cable. No, they both come with USB-C. Oh, anyway, there's some variations there, but they're all hanging around about $36. You can also get the 2-pack, which is a lot better value. It's only like an extra $14 for the second unit. So you get 2 radios, you get 2 batteries, 2 chargers, 2 cables, 2 drop-in chargers, 2 antennas, all that sort of thing for $50, which these TIDs I've been quite impressed with. They're clean. All the ones that I've tested, they're clean. The audio sounds great as well on both transmit and receive. It's really easy to drive. They work in chirp. I think they've also got a Bluetooth. Yeah, they got Bluetooth in them as well, so you can do Bluetooth stuff with them. Think they receive airband, maybe. Don't quote me on that. I think they do, but it's not all that good, so don't trust it. USB-C charging on the battery and also the radio. It says includes airband, so I think that's correct. Yeah, USB-C on both the battery and the radio. So yeah, you can charge it 2 ways. You don't have to have the battery in the radio to charge. So yeah, I really like this handheld radio. I think it's one of the better ones to start off with. Moving on to the Baofeng UV5G Plus. This is the GMRS radio. Also, again, another radio that I've done a review on. This one is $24, down from its normal $35. GMRS, nice screen on this. It was pretty good feel in the hand, a lot bigger than some of the other Baofeng radios, but for $24 to get on GMRS with this is the way to go. What's this one come with? This comes with a battery USB-C port. Yeah, so all that charging. I've done a review on this, so I'll put a link again. I'll put a link up here somewhere if you want to see the review to that radio, and also all of the previous radios. I've put cards up here too for those reviews. There's the 2-pack again, better value, $52 for 2 of them if you want to get those as well. So the first of the non-radio-y type of things, this is the Jackery Explorer 240. I was sort of browsing through and I found this one. This has got a 256 watt-hour LiPo4 battery, 300 watt AC inverter. It does the USB charging on the front, USB out so you can charge your phone. It does the 12 volt DC, 10 amps, which can run most sort of smaller radios. It won't run like a 100 watt radio, but it will run like your IC705 and the 817 and some of the smaller QRPs. The Zygu would run that as well. And the inverter as well, which is 300 watts. This one was only $179. So I figured that this was a pretty good deal if you just want to be sort of have a very, very small unit. You can use this to be able to power your radios. I did test the next model, which I was going to show, which is the Jackery Explorer 1000. This, when I tested it, was quiet on HF, RF wise. I tested on a couple of other bands as well in the video that I did. But this one here, the 1000, this is the 1000 watt hour one. What is it? 1500 watt pure sine wave. So just a little bit better. Still only 10 amp on the accessory socket, but you could probably power a power supply off of the pure sine wave inverter if you really wanted to power another radio. But for $600, that is quite a good deal. That when I got mine was a lot more expensive. So and you can also use it for your camping, for your outdoor, your off-grid stuff. You don't necessarily have to use it for radio. It just sort of doubles for that. And I have used mine actually quite a lot. I haven't used it as much for radio as I would have thought, but I've used it for like camping and powering stuff, and it was just really handy. So that's quite a good deal. And then I found this. This is a Renogy 200 watt solar panel, $296, the foldable ones. I think these all come with the same sort of connector, so you can use them with those power stations. Just double check though before you get them. I think they're all like a standard. I can't remember what the jack is. It's like a special DC jack thing. But $296, that's just over $1 a watt. So that might be something which you can add in for your off-grid stuff. Now, a lot of people point to my, where am I pointing? My off-air sign just above my head here. I've actually found my off-air sign on special, and it's really good. It's USB-C powered, $15, and it just makes it look really nice and cool in the shack. You can also get a remote control. Mine doesn't have the remote, but it just sort of gives you that little bit of a sort of a professional type of feel, ham radio type of feel. So you can plug that also into You can plug that into some sort of relay maybe, and then you could switch it with your radio so that when you power your radio on, maybe you could power on your on-air sign or trigger it with your PTT switch or something like that. Maybe mount it up above your shack somewhere and then just switch the power on and off to the sign. So, yeah, it's really cool. So $15 for that, pretty cheap. So just grab one. The Redodo 12-volt 100 amp hour battery, I've spoken about this before as well. LiPo 4. This thing will like run your 100-watt radio all day. Like it's 100 amp hour LiPo 4 is really good for that. $200. So what's that? $2 an amp, which these things, they're coming way down in price. So for the fact that this is sitting at $200 is really good. They're really lightweight too compared to some of the others. So you can get these going for anything that you really want to power for 12 volts. Get a couple of them, parallel them up. Then you got 200 amps, or if you've got some other need for that as well. There's also, I spoke about the Retevis RT95 earlier on. That was an amateur radio. This is the Retevis RA25. This is the GMRS version, the mobile radio, 20 watts, $91. I just come across it. Obviously we don't have GMRS here in Australia, but I just saw it and just thought that's a pretty good deal, 20% off. So if you're interested in getting a GMRS mobile, that's probably a good one. Just do your research and see how they stack up. Most of the Retevis radios that I've had before are pretty good. Now this I do have, the Kaiweets HT208D. This is, it's a multimeter, but it's also a clamp meter for current. The good thing I love about this is it does DC current. So I can put this on my DC leads and get a reasonably accurate measurement of DC current. And I use this thing all the time. My meter, I've got a Fluke meter that does up to 10 amps. And sometimes I want to measure something that's a little bit more than 10 amps. This meter's fantastic. I love it. So grab one if you want to use that. That's the main thing I use it for. But again, you can also use it for a multimeter, and there's also some other functions as well that you'd find, continuity and resistance and all that sort of stuff on a multimeter. The EcoFlow Delta 2. So I spoke about the Jackeries before. I have the Jackery Pro 1000. So this is $479. So it's cheaper than the Jackery, I think. $479. I think it was cheaper. This is the 1024 watt hour, the 1 kilowatt hour. I don't honestly, I don't know a lot about it because I haven't got mine yet. Does it have the inbuilt inverter? I think it does in the back. Yep. So it's got all that sort of stuff. When I get mine, I'm going to look into it really closely, but I've seen that these things have great reviews, and lots of people that I've read about that get them are really happy with them. So there's the EcoFlow on special, which is like, that's ridiculous. That's 50% off. Tiny SA. I have the Tiny SA Ultra. This is the entry-level version, the R-Sync Tiny SA that goes from 100 kilohertz up to just under a gig. This is $55, so 16% off. You can test your radios for spectral purity. You can plug in the antenna and go for walk around, and you can see all of the transmitters in your area on the spectrum analyzer. So every shack should have one of these. So $55 while it's on special. Grab one of those. There's also the Nano VNA, the H4. I think I've got this one. Yeah, up to 1.5 gigs, $78. So you can do SWR measurements. This will do the Smith charts. It'll do all sorts of stuff that you could do with the Nano VNA. So the Tiny SA and the Nano VNA, make sure you get those two because they should be in your shack. This is the one that I've got. This is the Ultra, the Tiny SA Ultra. So it's a little bit more expensive. It's $208. But this one goes from 100 kilohertz up to 5.3 gigs, and I wanted it so that I could go up into those higher ranges. Crimper for Anderson power poles. I got this a couple of years ago, and I use it all the time for my Anderson connectors. I've been slowly moving my shack over to Andersons. I've been putting them on everything that I can, and I used to not have a crimper. I'd do it with like pliers, and it was just really messy. It just wasn't real good. This crimper is fantastic. This will do the 15, 30, and 45 amp connectors. So you just like literally put the cable in, slot it in, crimp it up, and you're done. And for $22, it's a tool that you'll use all the time if you're doing Anderson connectors. So grab one of those. The MMDVM hotspot board I noticed was on special, $36. I've got mine here, which I still need to set up properly on a spare Pi when I've got some time. But the board here is $36 from Rsync. The Radio Oddity QT40, I have the QT60 equivalent, which is the Anytone 10-meter radio, but I know a lot of people love this. It's got the old school CB channelized look. Radio Oddity brought this out probably a year ago, maybe now, just over a year ago, I think. That's discounted from $200 down to $159. So not a bad 10-meter radio. SSB, I think it's got FM, AM. Yeah, SSB, FM, AM. No CW. They don't have them in these rigs, but these standalone rigs. But I really like sort of this sort of look, with the classic S meter and all that sort of thing. So the Radio Oddity QT40 is on special. Speaking of Radio Oddity, they have the Xiegu G90. Now, this is not a Prime Day special, but I think that this is actually a pretty good deal. This one here is $445, but if you have a look at the promotions, now these are listed on my promotions. You might have a different promotion, I don't know. But you can receive these expansion DE19 board and also the bracket holder for free if you put in these codes into your checkout. You can also get this antenna as well if you're interested, which is saving 10% off. That's not free, but that's on Amazon if you want to get it through Amazon. But then I noticed that I got an email the other day from Amazon, from Radio Oddity, which was also for the G90. But this one was $449, $449, $5 more. It was the G90, the bracket holder, the CE19 expansion card, plus a spare parts kit for $449. So that's a pretty good bundle offer deal. The discount code's not available on a sales bundle. I have a Radio Oddity discount code if you want to use it. It's in the description below, which gets you like $15 off your order. Obviously, it says here that the discount code is not available, but I thought that was too good a deal to not show people. And they've also got a similar type of deal on the X6100 as well from them, which gives you this external speaker cable. I can't remember what this cable's for. Oh, for the tuner, and also a backpack for $549. So it's like $5 more than the radio is. So the X6100 and the G90 are on special. Back over to Amazon though, I was just browsing along. I come across this 12-volt, 12-amp-hour lithium battery, and I thought to myself that this is pretty good for $37 because you can use this for your QRP radios, your G90s, your 705s, your 817s. 12 amp hours lithium battery is going to last you ages. It's going to be much better than the battery on the back, and it's not that much more weight to carry around. I've got one of these. I think I've got a 9 amp hour version, not this particular model, but I've got a LiPo4 9 amp hour battery, and I think it cost me like $50 or something, but it's super light. And it means that if I want 10 watts out of my 705, I can easily plug it in and I get 10 watts out of the 705 rather than the inbuilt 5 watts. So I just come across it and thought that was a good deal. I don't know much about these at all. The how do you even say this? The UBIDX SDX. I just saw it. I saw it's on special. Lots of people are crazy about this. $110. So that's on special as well, just to let you guys know. I don't know much about them. I just know that lots of people love them. Then I found this. This is on the classic Yaesu radios, the 2-pin cables. I bought a power cable for a radio the other day from Amazon, which was for an ICOM, and there is one of those cables for the Prime Day deals, but this one was $9.59, a couple of bucks cheaper, so it's great for a spare cable if you've got those older style connector radios. Then there's this one, which is for some of the Yaesus, the 847, 857, 897, a couple of the ICOMs as well, Alincos. So just make sure that these cables obviously fit your radio, but they're just a couple of bucks off. It's not that much of a saving, but still $3 is $3, right? Then I come and found this. This is the Radtel RT600, and I looked at this and thought, this is a UVK5 UVK5. I can't remember what model it is. It's like the third generation of UVK5. And I scrolled down here to the reviews, and the reviews said it is a Quancheng UVK6. That's it, a UVK6 without the USB-C charging. So it's pretty much a UVK5. And what caught my eye was the fact it was under $20. It was $19.99. So if this is, again, the review says it, but if this is a Quancheng, this should be able to flash the exact same hackable firmware and sort of the same stuff that the UVK5 does. So under $20 for that run, which is just it's rebadged. A couple of these companies did this and rebadged the Quancheng, but essentially it's just a Quancheng underneath. DTMF mic. This is the Yaesu's DTMF mic. I bought one of these quite a while ago because my one, I spilt Coke in it. Don't have your radio microphone sitting in the console of your car and drink Coke from McDonald's and drop it in, because it messes up the buttons and messes up the microphone. But this is less than $15 for a replacement mic for a whole stack of these Yaesu radios that use this connector. So I just thought that if you're after a spare mic, even if you might not break yours, or you might think that you'll never break it. I didn't think I'd spill Coke on mine, but I got a spare one because I thought it was a good idea to show that one. Meshtastic. So I've got this LoRa board, the Heltec LoRa 32 board. So I came across a couple of these. This is a 2-pack for $42. There's a couple of others that you can also get, a couple of other LoRa Meshtastic boards as well, but this is the one that I've got. So $42 for 2 of them, so $21 each. The Baofeng DM1701. I've been looking at getting this radio to have a bit of a play around with on DMR. I might be wrong. Someone in the comments, you'll correct me if I'm wrong. I think, is this thing like the closest thing to what a GD77 is? You can't get those anymore, but someone told me that this is as close to the GD77 as you can get. And I think you can put open GD77 on this. I think. Don't quote me. I'm pretty sure that you can. When I was researching, I'm sure it's the DM1701 that you can put open GD77 on, which makes it a whole much better radio. So that one was $72. So, it's written right in front of me. Supports open GD77. So for $71, I'll probably end up getting one of these because I was going to play around with it. So if that's on special, down by 20% as well. Now, this is the Baofeng GT5R, but it's a Pro version. So Baofeng are actually sending me one of these to have a look at. It's, I think, essentially the same as the GT5R with just a couple of extra features. It does AM, airband. I think it'll do 220. Yeah, 220. It's the clean version of a UV5R, basically. A couple of other extra features. I think maybe a bigger battery. $21.59. So I haven't received it yet. It's literally in the mail. They've been sending it to me to have a look at. So that'll be another review coming up shortly as well. I showed my Fluke earlier. This is a Fluke 115 multimeter. I've had this for about 16 years, I think, and it is fantastic. It is so awesome, this multimeter. If you're gonna spend some money on a multimeter and you want one that's going to last you years, then you get the Fluke. So the Fluke 117 is on special. It's over $50 off, $223. Yes, that sounds like a high price for a multimeter, but you buy once, cry once, right? So like 4.8 stars, 4,000 people just love this meter. So this is obviously a newer version of my one. So on special, the Fluke 117. Soldering station. So I've got one that looks like this. It's badged under the Kaiweets brand. This is a temperature-controlled soldering station with the clips on the side so you can hold a PCB board and all that sort of thing. It works pretty well. I've used it on a couple of things like surface mount soldering and all that sort of thing. So this is a 60-watt version. Lots of people have bought it, 4.5 stars, and it's on special, down 33% for $40. So that's a good way if you need a new soldering station. Solder sucker. Does it have a solder sucker in it? Oh, it comes with a solder sucker. I was going to say my version doesn't come with a solder sucker, but anyway, it's got a couple of tools there, which is good. And there's a whole bunch of other soldering stations as well, all sorts of temperature controlled and rework and all that sort of thing as well, which I was browsing there. For my Australian viewers, this one definitely is available in Australia. This is the Oricom UHF CB 5 watt radio, 30% off. It's $141, a little 5 watt mobile unit, 80 channels. So if you want to get a UHF CB for the car, this is a pretty good deal for $140. Let me know what deals or what you've purchased off of Amazon in the comments below. I apologize if you spend money. Don't tell your significant other that you're doing it. Don't even let them know that you've watched this stream, by the way. If you want to see some of the reviews of some of the radios that I mentioned in this video, then there are some links over here and over here